Hi guys, good afternoon everyone. Today is May 3rd, 2020, and in today's discussion we are going to explore a brand new concept again, and I'd like to walk you through on really understanding what Dow Jones Index is all about, or who is Dow Jones. And if you are from the Philippines, this may sound new to you, but people in the US and people from the other countries and who are already experts at trading, be it a Filipino or non-Filipinos alike, they are already very much familiar with this. Okay, so in our previous episodes, we've talked about the Philippine Stock Exchange Index, or the PSEI, and also in some of my sessions, I've received comments or inquiries about stocks in the US, and the common struggle, they wanted to explore trading or investing in the US stocks, but they're not very familiar with stocks and which stocks to engage in. And I think in this discussion today, we will have some ideas on which stocks we should be investing in. All right. Hi Ray, DJIA. Yes. So I'll try my best to explain this, and we'll talk more about it. All right. And in the meantime, maybe we can wait for a little while for our friends to start joining. Okay. So yeah, let me start with defining what Dow Jones Index Average, Dow Jones Industrial Average Index is all about. So this is just similar to our Philippine Stock Exchange Index, wherein the big companies with large market capitalization are part of that. It's like a basket, similar to our PSEI. So, and to further understand which companies are those, you have it on your screen. We have 30 companies that are included in the index, and whatever the outcome of or whatever the performance of Dow Jones at any given time, there is a big chance that you have the same performance in the individual stocks. And mainly the objective of our discussion today is I'd like to go through each one, and I'd like to understand the current technicals or current technical status or health check of their charts, so that let's say on Monday, if you'd like to start buying or investing in these stocks, you will somehow have an idea on which stocks are performing better than and which ones to avoid. Okay. And what I would normally use when I study the charts for US market, I would use tradingview.com. And if you also would like to understand more about Dow Jones, I researched Investopedia, and you have a lot of details there. So they also have what we call Dow Jones Transport Average. So that means they're tracking 20 transport related stocks, and we get to also, we have the information for those transport companies as well. Okay, and there's a small or a short video around it on this page as well. Okay, so for those people who are familiar with this, IDC Miss JD Bambi Hernandez. Yeah, I try to have another episode of our stock market insights probably tonight, because most of our viewers are in the night, are available at night as well. But this time around, I just want to focus our discussion on our topic today, which is Dow Jones, and I'm going to have a detailed deep dive on their individual stocks, because I personally am looking for stocks that I'd like to add more volume come Monday. So I'd like to invite everyone to join me as well. Okay. S&P 500, does it mean 500 stocks yung index po nila? Oh, I have to find out. But so far, Let me see. S&P S&P 500 stocks. 500 large companies listed on the stock. Yep, is a stock market index that measures the stock performance of 500 large companies. So that's too much to review, but I think I'll start a daily rigor on the Dow Jones stocks because it's only 30, and I think we're safe here. If I am going to recommend stocks, in the U.S. market, I'd go for blue chip companies as well because it's a brand new arena for most of our investors here. I understand those people watching our daily videos are newbies, so I only recommend safer companies, right? So let's take a look because it doesn't follow that these are the companies, they all are good at the moment. Some of them may have a not so good performance, so let's take a look. What time is JD? Okay. So tonight we are going to have our stock market insights around 9:30. Yeah, stock market insights will be 9:30 tonight. Okay. So I'll also message in Instagrams the time, so you are also reminded, and I'll create an advanced link so that you will have it right away. Okay. In the meantime, I'm excited. There are 30 stocks that we are going to review in the US market. Mind you, guys, if you have already started investing in the Philippine market, it is not going to be that complicated if you also start venturing in the US market. And besides, more stable companies are listed here. Okay, so there are 30, and as you can see, I just browsed through money.cnn.com and I already have the stocks listed in the Dow Jones. Just to name a few, you have here Microsoft, McDonald's, JPMorgan. You also have Apple, Boeing, Coca-Cola, but we'll review each one, okay? Let me start with 3M. Okay, so let's take a look at their chart. Sorry, MMM. Okay, so this is a 15-minute chart. Let's take a look at the daily for 3M. Okay, March 2020. Okay, so looks like we're very near the MA20 for 3M, and it could also mean two things. We might have some possible bounce in this area. It looks like in the previous dip, it respected the MA20 line. So I'm looking at this area again as a possible area of bounce. And let us see if it will follow our analysis. So just wait for a green candlestick. If you're interested in this company, wait for a green candlestick to come out before you enter. Okay, so far we have this area where it manifested some accumulation, and so we feel that it might move up. Okay, the next one would be AXP, which is American Express. AXP also, I think this is the green candlestick that we are waiting for. It is currently sitting at the MA20 line. There's a confirmation in this level over here. There you go. So I'm thinking we might establish this support in this level, and then we'll see it moving to the upside in the coming days. So far, it has dipped or declined significantly from this level to here. That was a 50% drop, and so far from the drop, we have already managed to move up by 21%. So I think that you have around 20% risk to reward ratio, but definitely I suggest that you enter very near your possible support here, which is your MA20 line. Okay. You're welcome, Bambi. Let's chat again around 9:30, and yeah, this one I'm just trying out because I really want to know which stocks to enter by Monday, so I'm studying them. Okay, whoever's interested to join, just hang in there. It is going to be a good exercise for all of us. We're following the same concept, studying the charts using our indicators, which are number one. This is your Bollinger Band. You follow also we follow the index. I mean the volume and RSI. And one thing good that I have observed so far, let's say triple M dividends. Let me see if we have dividends. Yes, this gives out dividends here. Well, $1.47. Okay, consistent dividends for 3M. And the second one we reviewed was AXP. It also gives out dividends here. And so far, the last one was January, which was 43 cents. And then another April 2nd, 43 cents again. So that means looks like every quarter, no, not really. October, yeah, looks like quarterly this stock gives out dividends. So that's a good one, right? The next is Apple, of course. Let us see if Apple is really good to enter. I think this one is. Let us see if this is going to further dip here, because I don't like this candlestick, and we're very near a resistance area, which is actually, I feel that this is still a resistance level because we've seen consolidation here. So it might drop and test probably your MA20 line here. So I think that, I'm not getting in here yet. I just want, if I am, I'd be haggling up until the MA20 level. Okay, so not for Apple for a while. BA, let's check out BA. Okay, this one is, of course, government aid, share slip, bond sale. I don't like what I'm seeing in the last candlestick here. Last trading day, May 1st, we had a 5% decline from the previous day's numbers. So and also we triggered a lower we crossed the MA20 line, moving downwards. So that means it might test this level and see if it will bounce in that area. But one thing to consider is if this starts to trigger your lower Bollinger Band, you might have some more declines. However, you have your nearest support to observe at the moment, and if we see a green candlestick forming in that level, then that means there could be a potential, change in direction, moving upwards. Otherwise, we might revisit your 93 level again. Okay, from the beginning of the crisis, this stock has already dropped by 70%. Okay, and now we have already moved up by around 30%. So there's 40% more to go back to the previous level. Okay, so for people who are investors whose objective is merely to invest, so these are the areas that they can haggle, right? But we're plotting support areas because those are the possible areas where you could see some bounce. Now, if you want to get in, either way, just enter in tranches, meaning manage your volume. Don't put everything in one transaction. Maybe try entering, let's say, $100 here, and let's say you have $200. You enter your $100 here. If it dips further, an investor would add some more when it dips. Okay. The next one would be Caterpillar. Okay, this one I don't like the formation as well. I feel that we might trigger some lower lows in this case. So when it bounced right here, as you notice, it bounced in this level, and then of course it's given that the stock might also rest. So it rested, and when it bounced again, the height is much lower than the previous high. So I feel that you might have something like this where it will trigger some declines. And I'd say stay away for now and wait for that possible bounce, because I feel it might even reach this level and bounce in this area. Okay, because I've seen a resistance previously in this section. All right, this is your resistance, and it might revisit that. Okay, 103.8. Chevron, CVX. Okay, this one is, let us see if it will create a bounce in this level. If you are to look at the sentiment, so on a daily chart, there are 12 against 7, and 15-minute chart, more people selling it. On a weekly, so this will give you an idea on which side is the sentiment of the market. Okay, so more selling could happen here, and I'd like us to plot our support level. Let's see if it will. I have a feeling it will break the MA20 line, showing some more weakness. So 79.42 is my conservative area to watch out for a possible bounce. Hi guys! Ray said, natatakot po ako mag-invest sa US stocks. Parang manipulated ang market nila by the Fed. Baka biglang mag-crash, mag-burst ng bubble. Good day, ma'am. Pasuyo po ng Vita. John Ray, we are going to have our stock market insights tonight around 9:30 in the evening. Please go ahead and watch out for the link. I'll create that live link early so that you can come in anytime. Or yeah, you already have the link for that. Anyway, the focus of this discussion, just to stick to the topic, I'm reviewing all the stocks in the Dow Jones. This is like the index of, if we have a PSEI in the Philippines, where it houses all the large companies in the Philippine market. We have Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is also like an index in the US market, housing top 30 stocks with large market capitalization. So as market is averaging 4-5%, but in the US, you will see, you can take advantage of volatility and be more profitable. And a lot of the platforms, I am using eToro, and whatever platform you may use someday, it has a stop loss feature that you don't have to, if you're an investor, you don't even have to be online 100% of the time, because it can just activate your stop loss measures there. Okay, so we're now in CVX. The next one would be Cisco. Okay, Cisco. So this is my first time that I'm doing this. I haven't really explored all the stocks. That's why I'm actually trying this out today, because I'm always just following Facebook, Apple, and the more popular ones. But anyway, for this stock, this is not a good sign, because we have officially crossed the MA20 line, and I feel that we might continue triggering some more declines here, and just hoping that it won't continue to dip up to this level. But first area that it will first test would be around this level, and then the next one would be your another bottom here. Don't mind this up here, because I think I measured that previously. So 37.82 and 33.65 are the two areas to watch out, and probably see if there are some possible bounce there. I love to see these numbers showing up in all of the stocks that we have reviewed. Okay, because that means they're giving out dividends. If you have a large amount and you just want to sit down and for investors, that is, put your money there and then every 3 months just wait for dividends, because you know that you're not be getting that amount anyway anytime soon. It will stay there for years. So just imagine. Okay, how do I reflect my calculator here? So let us say you have what? 10 million. Okay, you have 10 million. And each year you receive, let's say 3%. 3% of that each year for dividends. Wow, that's 300,000. But let's say you only have 1 million invested in a blue chip company in the US. So what is 1 million pesos worth, guys? Okay, 1 million, and then you get 3% of that, 30,000. Okay, you have 1 million doing nothing just in your bank. So I suggest, try considering putting that in a stock market or in a stable stock, and then 30,000 pesos for you each year. Divide by 12, 25, not bad. Additional income each month, but definitely you will not live with 25 each month. But a good, good resource if you have 1 million just sitting and doing nothing there. Anyway, going back, Cisco. What about Coke? KO. So I need to familiarize these stocks and their codes. So again, we crossed the MA20 line, showing weakness right here, but we're very near a support, which I'd say we have to closely monitor this, because we can never tell. We might see a green candlestick forming in the next day's market, or in the next day's performance, and that could be your trigger. Okay. KO. So these were the lines I plotted previously. The next one is Disney. Disney might take a while before we'll see some recoveries here, knowing that there aren't really, tourism industry is badly hit in the recent pandemic. So it's not sitting at the MA20 line, but although it might, okay, because it respected the MA20 previously, even if it'll bounce, I am still not 100% recommending Disney, because again, their situation is not that great yet. So I think we can just skip Disney and choose this one some other time, unless it goes double bottom right here. This is the bottom. I see some similar patterns with PSEI. Most of the stocks, it hit a bottom and then starting to recover. I think same is true with what's happening right now in the index for Philippine market. It hit the bottom and starting to recover with some minor retracements happening. Disney Dow Chemical. So the code is DOW. Okay, so this one as well is sitting right at the MA20 level. So I don't feel good though, because the next possible support here is it might even touch this area. You had your support previously here. Slight overshoot here, but I feel that it might challenge this level again. And let us see if it will follow our analysis. Used to have a resistance right at this area. Okay, although that's your MA20. 70 cents. Feb, November, okay, every 3 months as well. XOM. XOM. Okay, this one is sitting at the MA20 line, which is, yep. Let us see if it will sustain in this level. You had your support right here. You had your support. Okay, and MA20 line, so that means it might test that area first. Oh my goodness. 1,116% decline. So I don't feel good. I don't want to recommend this. Their income revenue badly hit. Look at that. Okay. So it might trigger some more declines. Alright. GS. GS is Goldman Sachs. At least this one is a bit positive. Sell. The sentiment is more on selling for this stock. So we'll see if it will sustain and create a bounce in this level. Yeah, first area to check, of course, is this level. I have not really studied the fundamentals of each stock. I'm just looking at so far this and this section. Although in eToro you will see research in one of the pages of eToro, and then it will give you a better understanding of the financials. One of the measures ahead. Home Depot. HD. Alright. This could be a brand new support for Home Depot, guys. I'd like to use this area. Okay. The reason why we are plotting that here is because of this one. Used to be a support. You also had your resistance here, and the resistance right here, and the support right here. So there are so many, this is a slight overshoot, but it's really close. So I feel that it will continue to move up, but might give you a chance at the 210 level. So guys, what's good here, like in eToro, for example, you don't have to buy it at 210. So it doesn't have to be that amount. That means you can partially buy less than 1 unit of each stock. I can trade $100 at a time. That's just around 5,000 pesos. So that means I can buy a portion of Home Depot, and still the same. Okay, so if you're interested to start engaging in the US market, you can probably try it at a smaller sizes. Kumusta naman so far yung strat, Miss JD, in US market? Is it very different? Is it more profitable because of shorting? Although there's shorting, guys, I'm not very fond of shorting actually. I just go for long, or I only bet when the stock is moving to the upside. It's come to think of it, when the stock goes down, there is a limit. You will not see a stock unless it's oil. For the first time, I've witnessed oil reaching zero level. But when it dips, it only dips at a certain level, and in the long run, it goes up, right? So it is more promising to invest in a stock going up than going down, because normally, a stock would dip for the most 30% or 20%, but unlimited potential for a stock to, eventually, if you're an investor, it will move up. Unless you're, you want to be a trader. So far, I'd say nothing's not much of a difference. It's just that when you are engaging in these stocks in the US market, you are more, for me, I feel safer actually. when I invest in big companies in the U.S. market, because I know that in terms of capitalization, in terms of um, the stability of their company, it's more stable actually. So don't worry. Don't worry when it comes to volatility. You can even use that to your advantage. And we've been profitable. I've also had trades that are not so good there. So it's just normal. We all have losses, but I've had so many profitable trades in the U.S. market. And again, I reminded you guys before, and I will still remind you: manage the sizes. I trade with $100, $200 per trade only. So how much is that? 5,000, 10,000 pesos. So at least when it dips, it is not that hurting. Let's continue. IBM. IBM, okay, sitting at the MA20 line. So looks like by tomorrow's market, there are a lot of decision making movements here. We're at the MA20 line, and so far, twice in a row when it dips, it somehow respected the MA20 level. So if this continues to follow the same trend, for those people who are users of the Elliott Wave as an indicator, they might say that this is still at a promising state, because sometimes the wave reaches 3 to 4 times or levels. So this is how it goes. I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So normally when it reaches the fifth bounce, then it might break. But your decision maker is this line. If I'm going to show you Elliott Wave, here, look at that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the next dip here is almost equal to your previous, like this one. Let's see. Okay, so be extra careful because it's very similar, right? Very similar to the Elliott Wave here. So we might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and when it dips, okay, you might have a slight increase only up to this level and then continues to go down. So be extra careful. This is about to face some retracement. INTC. Okay, so we don't like this. It broke the MA20 line. I wonder when did I plot this line? I think it must be a long time ago. But it broke the MA20 level here. We might see some more declines. Why did I plot it here? Oh, okay, because we had some resistance in this level. Okay. Okay, be extra careful. So this is not the stock that we want unless you want to short this. Okay, shorting for this stock could be an option. INTC JNJ Johnson Johnson. JNJ. Okay, so very significant increase in the price. So I feel that, well, let's see if it will sustain this. So far, 2 straight days of just moving within the MA20 line. So it might create a brand new support in this level. Yeah. Could be, right? 146, for as long as that level is not broken, then we're still at a healthy state. This stock is just resting. Overall, buying sentiment is still high on a daily chart, uh, same as with a much faster time frame. JNJ, next one would be JPM. JPM is doing some sideways movement here. So what I can do at this point is probably plot this. Okay, so let's use that as our point of reference. It's somehow an ascending triangle, right? So if this stock breaks the lower green line, then that means you will have some more declines. And so far the sentiment actually is on the sell here. So let's just check. And it's currently sitting at the lower support, so not a good. Well, if it bounces, then good. But if it breaks that line, we already have some next possible movements, or at least we can plan ahead. 90 cents January, April, so every 3 months this company gives out dividends. McDonald's, I think McDonald's will still remain because um, people are, so far in terms of finances, yeah, people are badly hit in the US and even here, and eating McDonald's food would be a cheaper option, but not very healthy option though. So, where could it possibly? Okay, so in case this experiences a breakdown in the MA20 line, the next possible stop is this level. It might give us a bounce at this area, but definitely also closely monitor this stock as it is now sitting at the MA20 line. And if we have another green candlestick engulfing May 1st candlestick, then that's a good sign. Let me just plot the nearest resistance that we see at the moment here. Okay, that could be the nearest resistance. The next one is MRK. MRK. Okay, so not a good story. It's starting to well, this is the support that I see at the moment for MRK. It's currently sitting at the support. So it's again a decision making day for tomorrow. If we have a bounce here, then that's a good sign. But if it breaks that um, and starts to trigger a lower Bollinger Band, then that's not nice. You see this when it started to trigger the Bollinger Band downside, I mean moving downwards, it's it continued to decline. See that? So our rule of thumb here, the rule that we follow is that, for instance here, so in this example, it triggered the lower Bollinger Band, and the rule of thumb that we follow is that the next three candlesticks must engulf this red. But we ended the third candlestick ended just halfway of that red candlestick back in January, on January 24th. Therefore, there's not much volume. It continued to decline. I mean, it did not follow our rule, and so it continued to decline there. So if this continues to trigger the lower Bollinger Band, then we also follow the same concept. Microsoft, MSFT. So it's also very close, but I think we might have more movements going down for Microsoft. I don't see this pattern very attractive yet. And as you can see here, when it reached your resistance, right? 2 points having a peak at this level. And then let's take a look at how your, how did your RSI behave here. Your volume is declining. So that means that's already a sign of weakness. You peak at the resistance area, and then you observe your RSI. If it's declining, then that will give you a correction. The next one is after Microsoft, Nike, NKE. Nike is, this could be a slight overshoot, right? But still, because we're moving below the MA20 line, let's not consider this as of yet in terms of technical analysis. I think the revenue is also, yeah, see that badly hit in the revenue as well, because people are just being practical nowadays. Instead of buying a Nike product, they'd rather buy food first, considering that a lot of Americans especially have lost their jobs, and there are already 1 million, more than 1 million cases, I believe, in US alone. So that's not a good sign. So this is where we want to plot our next support for Nike. Pfizer maybe, because this is in the medical field. Let's see. Okay, it went on a bull run when it reached the bottom right here. So for the entire time during the lockdown, it actually peaked, moved up. But let us see if it will give us some retracement. It will potentially give us a retracement, and let's watch the market movement when it reaches your MA20 line, as it might bounce in that level. Overall, how far are we from the top? Okay, just very quick recovery when it dipped right there. So good job to Pfizer. PG, Procter and Gamble, another household commodity. Well, it bounced. It already bounced. As a dividend, badly hit in the revenue as well, but not that much. It's just 1.4% decline from the previous performance. So where could it bounce? Maybe I think I'd say this is already a bounce. It's just accumulating doing some sideways for the past 4 days, but I think you're very near a support area. It has already created a new support in the 115.21 level. Well, TRV. I don't really know what TRV. What's the Travelers Companies Incorporated. So if you want to find out more about their individual stocks, you just go here. 10. Okay. TRV. Okay, so not a good sign here. It triggered the lower band. So notice this. Last April 30th, it triggered the lower band. I mean the MA20 line, and then it got confirmed by another red candlestick the next day. And so the next area of support that I want to check is this level, 93.67, because I saw this being our support. So it might create some stabilization right there before it moves up. If that line gets broken, then that is not a good story, because the next support that I see would be around this level, 80.93. So if it triggers this area, I think that would be a good call for shorting. as if you short that, make sure to of course identify your target profit taking area really before you enter it, because this is the next support that we see. TRV UTX UTX oops UTX. Oh, I don't like this. Let's skip that. I don't like the UNH. Okay, UnitedHealth Group Incorporated. So this is your support. That's the support. Okay, 271 level. So that means we might see some more dips, but very near a possible support as well. Verizon, VZ. So will people still use their product while in a lockdown? I believe so. It has already reached we already had a bull run on this on these days, and it's just following this pattern, like moves up, stabilize, and breaks down sometimes. And I think that is what's happening right now. It might drop and revisit your 55.3 level, around there. Okay, resistance, support in this area, so it might check that. Although by the time it reaches this level, it is already going to trigger your MA20 line. I mean your lower Bollinger Band. So if that gets triggered, chances are it might break that and might revisit this level once again. 52.06, yeah, 52 area. Walmart, WMT. I think this is a bounce for Walmart, guys. This is a nice looking chart here. Okay. That could be a possible bounce for Walmart. 120.47 is our area of support, just in case the market gives you a chance right there. So yeah, look at the sentiment, buying sentiment as well. All right. Just be extra careful. You're still at the very, very close to the MA20 line. Just identify your stop loss area before you enter. And Walgreen, WBA last. Okay, so this might, we're actually sitting at a possible support for the stock, but let's just see if it will continue to trigger. So it's just moving sideways here, and 40.25 is the possible area of support. But so far, from the stocks that I've reviewed, I see a promising movement for Walmart. Yeah, Walmart, and yep. So I think that is it. Let's find out probably tomorrow if our analysis would be correct. In the meantime, I'll chat with you again around 9:30. We are going to talk about the Philippine market and review your stocks there, okay? But don't forget, we have already reviewed some of them last April 30th before the holiday. So I would recommend for you guys to review the stocks that we have not covered yet. Put the link here below so that you are guided on the stocks that we have already completed. In the meantime, chat with you again, guys, later at 9:30. Bye-bye for now.